here, quantlabs.net, just going over a previous person's set of questions from last week. I'll be looking forward to take your futures and options course at some point, late spring or summer, depending on how quickly I can get through the Python training. I have a simple question. Let me show you what that is. Come under the product at the blog here at quantlabs.net. He is referring to here, futures and options course. The one he's currently taking is Python training. So, he's got a simple question. Question 2 is very low, so it might take a while to think about and how you could break down your answer. What are your thoughts on binary options? My answer to binary options are pretty simple. They're usually run by con artist, Forex brokers, unregulated, overseas, blah, blah, blah. I've talked about them enough. You may actually get some information. Go to my website or to my YouTube channel. Quant Labs. So if I type in binary, let's see what we can dig up here. So we got a couple here, but I don't think about them. I don't recommend them. Okay, how is your portfolio divided up percentage for asset type, trading style, strategies for daily income, and how is it different for investment growth? Okay, now portfolio, the best way to do it is try to figure out what your portfolio goals are. So for instance, if you're wanting to make the usual 1% daily on your portfolio, so you're looking for 1% daily up moves, because of that, you can get your your portfolio to grow at a exponential level. So for instance, here we have the GSP intraday. Let me just put in a one-day chart here. Is down negative 0.05%. Now, if we look at the daily move of the Chinese Shanghai Composite, it's 0.20. But now I'm just going to look at some current moves here. So you can see here that Forex doesn't move as much, considering the, let me just pull in the one day. So let's say I want to look for a better daily move of MX. So if I type in here MXN, Mexican peso, you can here see here this has had a nice positive move of 1.6%. So there are assets out there that do move at least 1%. The problem is being able to determine those when basically obviously the timing, but they do exist. Usually these are driven by predictable sentiment and what happens in news. So for instance, with the trade war announced by Trump against Canada, obviously that's going to have an impact on Mexico. So that was a potential move that could have had a high probability of happening. But going back to this question, if you set your daily, you're trying to look for profit moves up, like upswings of 1%, you're going to do really well exponentially. But the hard part is finding those assets to trade that will give you that. Now, the question is, how do you divvy up your asset type, trading style, and strategies for daily income? This is a very generic question. The way to do it really, ultimately, and I'm nowhere close to getting to this level, is to be able to simulate your portfolio analysis. So what you're looking for are to forecast certain asset types under certain market conditions that will give you those volatile price swings, either on the short or the long, but in forecasting them. So it all comes down to probabilities. So you're going to want to trade asset types that will give you those volatile pricing moves. Now, as I said, the trading style is based upon market condition. So if you looked at the overall price move of the, let's say the Mexican dollar, the Mexican peso, that's pretty good. Whereas if you looked at the Canadian dollar, let's say year to date, maybe a year to date. Oh, Canadian dollar with the US. So when you look at, that's a year to date. Okay, so the question becomes, why would you want to trade an asset like the Canadian dollar that just hasn't really moved? It's only moved like, negative 1%. Whereas the peso has moved 9%. So knowing that the peso has a higher chance of having a more volatile move, which means a stronger return and a higher probability of it. And if you're going to deploy, $100, why would you deploy $100 for a 1% move, whereas you could deploy $100 on a Mexico peso move? These are the sort of things that you need to analyze. And that's just on the different currency pairs. Okay. Now, the other thing you need to consider is the asset classes. So, good example, let's say gold. Let me just get rid of these. Just give me a second here. Let's just say gold. On the spider gold. So I'm going to get rid of that. You can see since the beginning of the year there's been a little bit of a move. Maybe 10-20%. So let's say we compare that to iron ore, which is another one. So we have some equities here. We want, there's no futures, I guess we can compare it to. Or better yet, let's just do silver, might be a better one. So we have silver, now I'm going to do gold. GLD. Okay, so it hasn't really moved a whole lot, but you can see here the silver would give you a little bit of a better return of about 5% at this point here at February 24th. So these are the sort of things you're going to need to look for to get those higher returns based upon the commodity or Forex pair or even an index or an ETF or whatever you want to trade under whatever circumstance. These are the sort of things you need to really analyze. So hopefully I've given you some examples that you could use to get a higher return. Obviously it depends on timing, your data analysis, your source of data, to get the timing right on when to get maximum return based upon the different examples that I've shown in the currencies of Mexico peso, versus a Canadian dollar, or silver versus gold, as just simple commodity trading as well. And then you can also say the same thing on indices based on region, what part of the world we're talking. So there's many different ways to play it. Hopefully that'll give you a high level how to somewhat time it. Hopefully I'll be able to talk to you later.